Both teams have had some issues. India went to Australia with uh, lots of question marks over their fitness, especially the bowlers. So India was lucky, and it was great to see that in Ishant Sharma was match fit, Zahir Khan was match fit, and suddenly the bowling attack looked a lot better than the kind of attack that we had in England. And India, of course, had what you call a strong batting lineup, experienced batting lineup. And Australia, on the other hand, had lots of batting uncertainties. Their bowling looked a lot sturdier. So, from that standpoint, equally matched. But as I've been saying on various platforms, two teams that are, it's a matchup that's highly unpredictable. You don't know which way it's going. So yes, from that standpoint, you can say that it is a bit of a battle between two equals. And did India lose an opportunity? Well, yes, I think once their bowling attack was in good shape, I thought India should have been the stronger team in that first test match. When there's a batting failure, the convenient explanation that people gave, or their analysis that there was no application, some of them played loose shots, things like that. But when you see that a loose shot has been played, that shot has been played because it's a culmination of a few other things that have happened before that shot was played. Sometimes the batsman gets a bit too defensive. When he finds the opposition challenging, then he starts telling himself that just defense is not going to work, and he's got to be a little more attacking, and picks the wrong ball to attack. Gautam Gambhir in the second inning looked to only defend, and he started wondering, where are his runs going to come from? So these are all just battles that the batsman plays, and when he gets out playing a shot, you think it's a loose shot and there wasn't much application. But I've been a batsman myself. Each and every batsman there is applying himself, finding his own method, to tackle the challenge. But what is of concern is that the Indian batsmen, with the kind of experience and ability that they have, find this a tough challenge. I think that's where the problem lies. For a batting lineup like this, England, England bowlers in England shouldn't have been that much of a tough challenge. It should be a challenge that was stern, but challenge that they should have been able to overcome. More so in this first Test match, when you talk about inexperience, Australian bowling attack, this batting lineup shouldn't find that as a tough challenge on a pitch that wasn't typically Australian. There was something for the bowlers, but it wasn't that difficult to bat on. So I think that is the basic issue here, that this batting unit have found 4 Test matches in England and this one Test match in Australia tough to handle. I think that is the basic issue. Maybe one more Test match will reveal that we actually have a huge problem with our batting lineup, which may be actually a lot to do with aging batsmen who are finding it uh, are not finding it as easy as they used to, playing in challenging conditions, because these are all guys who have an excellent pedigree. These are all guys who've had impressive overseas records as well, barring maybe Gautam Gambhir, who hasn't played overseas enough. So yes, I think it's going to be interesting to see the performance of this team at Sydney, and after that, maybe yes, we'll have to look at some very important changes and some tough decisions that the selectors will have to make if something untoward happens again in Sydney. Well, I was just delighted that we had everyone fit, except Praveen Kumar, who obviously is not in Australia. But the guys who made the trip to Australia, all of them were fit and raring to go. So that was great news for Indian cricket, because I watched England India series for 2 months, and there were just people heading back home. And at one point of time, there are about 8 or 10 players, from the first sort of Indian 11 who were missing out. So it was just great to see Zahir Khan, looking match fit. There was some question mark over Ishant Sharma before the first Test match. So that was fixed. Ishant Sharma looked match fit. Umesh Yadav has looked quite impressive and has a knack of taking wickets. Ashwin, adds a bit of novelty to the bowling attack. So that was, I think, an exciting development, that we had a fit Indian bowling attack after a long time, and a bowling attack that will, trouble this pretty uncertain Australian batting lineup. This is still an Australia that I'm coming to terms with, because I played in an era where Australia dominated. They didn't have any weakness. They had various ways of bouncing back in a match. Give them any situation, five down for 50, and Gilchrist in a test match would come and get them to 300. Glenn McGrath, Shane Warne, all those guys, Gillespie, Brett Lee would make 300 look like a 500. So it's a team that I've seen over the years dominating world cricket and setting the right standards, a team that had no weaknesses. So it's taken me a while to see this Australian team with some significant weaknesses. And the one big weakness that you obviously saw, everyone saw it, was their batting, especially the top order. They looked extremely, fragile. A lot of loose shots. A lot of T20 sort of temperament coming into the way they were batting in that in the first 15, 20 overs. So that is going to be a problem. Hussey and Ponting got some runs, but they're still not looking 100%. These two, very experienced players with good track record are looking a little uncertain. So that's one big weakness that Australia are carrying, which I haven't seen for a long, long time. So that will continue to be India's strength. It's a weakness that India can exploit on a good day. Their bowling looked pretty sturdy, but what has not diminished is the cricketing acumen of the Australian team, led by their captain. The Australians are very good at finding weaknesses in the opposition. Dravid will know that, because every time he plays against Australia, they just bowl a different line to Rahul Dravid, and it's something not too many other oppositions do. And one of the reasons that we saw Dravid getting clean bowled three times in the two innings, one was a no ball, is because of the kind of attack that they specifically bowled to Dravid. So that's where the cricketing sharpness also comes in. So those qualities are intact, but their batting will continue to be, I think, a problem, and that's why I believe that India have a chance of bouncing back in this series. I think that, this is an issue where everyone is in agreement. They want uniformity, and at the moment, it's actually a pretty bizarre situation that you have some, matches being played with the DRS, with limited tools to aid the DRS, and there are some matches where DRS is not even used. So I've made my view clear on this very platform about where I stand with DRS. I actually don't stand anyway. I'm sitting on the fence on this one, and I'm with Michael Clark. When he said that either way it doesn't bother him too much. But yes, I think the time has come. Maybe after the series, or after the South Africa Sri Lanka series, where the ICC will have to take a call on the DRS issue, make it standard, and then I think you will see a little more sense coming into international cricket with regards to DRS. At the moment, we are being a bit haphazard about it. Let's try and understand Mahendra Singh Dhoni as a captain first. He's been wonderful. His great strength is how he's able to uh, almost delegate roles and delegate authority to the players. He doesn't interfere too much. He's not very proactive, but he is just a wonderful leader who knows exactly the strengths and the weaknesses of his team. He knows the country that he plays for. He understands the media of that country. He understands the passion of the fans that follow the game. So he's wonderful at handling all that. But I think from watching him in the last few years, it's pretty obvious that he's a much better one-day captain than he's a test match captain. But, Dhoni's captaincy gets talked only when, India's overseas. Now, when we were playing against West Indies, when India, was winning test matches, it doesn't get talked that often. So till India starts batting better, I think it's unfair to criticize Dhoni as a captain. What can a captain do when you have a batting team that struggled to get past 300 in 8 innings, and now you've got another two to go with it? So there's only so much a captain can do. And I've also seen his style of captaincy, and Virendra Sehwag, who led India in that one-day series against West Indies, had a different style, and you could instantly make comparisons. Dhoni doesn't get too caught in the moment. I think what he is always looking at, he's working with a long-term plan in mind. He always looks at the larger picture. So there are some moments in the game that he perhaps doesn't focus on as much. He believes in, looking at the game as a whole. So there will be sessions where you would feel that he's been a little laid back, but he's worked out a tactic and a plan in his mind, which he's worked out for the whole tenure of the test match, which is 5 days. And when you look at his record, it's an impressive record. So till India starts batting better, I think it's unfair to look at Dhoni as one of the problems with Indian test cricket, because of the kind of results that we've had in England and Australia. See, India's strength is going to be their bowling attack because Zair Khan looked good. Umesh Yadav has picked up a real nice knack of taking wickets. Ashwin got the ball to spin and bounce as well. He would enjoy bowling at Sydney. If there is an obvious turning surface that India gets, there is a chance Pragyan Oja might come in. So that against the very insecure Australian batting is going to be a nice matchup. So that always will give India hope of bouncing back. But obviously, India also has to bat better. And I believe that it's just a matter of time before India crosses that 300 mark, which has become sort of now the yardstick to look at India's batting performance. I think England was a much tougher challenge for the batsmen. Their bowling attack was a lot superior. Bowling conditions also were a lot in favor of the bowlers. So I expect India to bat better. And this time round, which wasn't the case in England, their bowling attack is giving you hope. After Zair Khan walked out at Lord's in that first Test match against England, India lost any hope of winning a Test match. That's not the case here in Australia.